folks, how's it going? I see so much happening in the chat already. That is awesome. How are you feeling about another stream, another day? How's it going? How's GSW treating y'all? I'm also sending the registration and check-in link in the chat. Hi Karthik, welcome to the stream. Yeah, well, I'm gonna call it. Let's call it something better than steroid. Like let's come up with a more positive name for that. But yeah, I see. It's okay. It's right in the middle of GHW right now, and I'm sure you all are overwhelmed with the amount of things that you all are learning. Well, it's definitely more than active. I'll give you that. So, how are we doing? How's GHW treating y'all? What's your favorite part about GHW till now? Do you all have a favorite stream yet? Do you all have your favorite mini event yet? If you all have joined GHW for the first time, how do you like the mini events? Yeah, I know, right? It's always a thing. By day two, you're like, oh my god, GHW is going so slowly, there's so much to learn. And by the end, you don't even realize where time flies. So, what about the others? Goodies and swag. It's always good to have incentive, for whatever you're doing. So, yeah, goodies and swag is a good incentive to keep at it. I have heard, yes, I plan to join Diverse Stream as an audience next time. You know what? I'm actually going to see if he can, teach me a couple of tricks to, get y'all to have more fun during the streams. But how about the others? I saw so many people in the chat. No, none of them are replying. Hi, Shamari. Welcome back to the stream. Um, Alright, not very active folks today. What about Senil, Bilal Gupta? They've been pretty active in the stream otherwise. Thank you. That's so sweet, Sanya. Thank you so much. Today is a very chill stream. We'll do one hands-on thing, and I'm sorry I haven't figured out the deployment yet. I did find something called data.space rather, and I'm trying to figure out how to use that. And by Monday stream, we will have it deployed. Alright. Uh, I can't click on it, so let's see. All right, folks, let's dive right in. If you all aren't in much mood of a chit chatter, start, right? So, we're going to start with our postman visualization. Remember, I told you we'll visualize a little bit of our own GitHub profiles. Of course, you all are welcome to do for any other person or any other profile you like. Just make sure you don't invade anyone's privacy or hurt anyone. So we'll start with that and we will go on to IoT. So we're going to talk about it for the most part. Alright. So we'll talk about it. We'll have a couple of questions. I'll let you all, spam the chat with analogies. And Zenny or GitHub for what? For deployment? The thing is, GitHub Pages only has static deployment. So I am not sure, but since you mentioned that, I will look into GitHub Actions and see if we can do something. Okay? Thank you so much for the idea, though. I'll definitely look into it. Alright, for deployment, so we will see if GitHub Actions has something for us. Awesome! Alright. Yes. This is my background. There's a lot of maker stuff. And yeah, you're welcome to talk about it with me whenever you want. We might deploy it to data.sh space not SH. So let's see. Thank you. I do like my pegboards. Y'all never know. Hi Rohit. Y'all never know. I might just open a maker space in the coming months and invite y'all. Then y'all will have to. Yes, that's right. Oh Yash. Awesome, folks. Let's get started. So let's open our Postman, and I'll start sharing my screen as well. So let me send you all a link if you all are joining it for the first time. This is the link for my workspace. Now it will take you to a different. Uh, yes, that is the point of it. That's exactly the idea behind it. Just whatever you want to make, you have everything in front of you. And yeah, so I paint. Well, I try to paint, and I love doing glass work. So I make these glass flowers and everything. That is a good question, Shivam. I will share my Instagram profile by the end of the session. Hopefully, that will also, push me to be a little more active. And yeah, then maybe you all can see why I need a drill for my stuff. That is a good answer. All right, folks. Postman. So let's open a new tab. I've sent you all the link. This is what I was at yesterday. So I'm going to go into collection. I do not need APIs. I'm going to go to workspaces. I have a GHW API. Workspace created, and I'm realizing I'm not sharing my screen. Uh, oh, I remember there used to be a show, right? The Backyard Science or something on Disney. I used to love it. Did you all watch it? Thank you. Yes, it's now I'm being a little more conscious about it. All right, folks. So just go to your Postman, create a new workspace if you want to, or you can use the default workspace. This is a personal workspace. You all can also create team workspaces and work together. Over here, I'm going to click on the new tab, and then I'm going to wait for you all to catch up. Right? So, how many of you all are coming to Hack the League? I'm going to be there at Hack the League. I'm hoping to see you all. So it's going to be me and Khushi at Hack the League. If you all are following along, just quickly catch up, open the Postman, and we will get started right after that. Oh, that's okay. I'll see you at the next hackathon. I'm sure you'll do well whenever you get to it. Yash, best of luck for your grade 12 though. Hack the League is an offline hackathon happening in Jaipur, starting day after tomorrow actually. So I'll be there as an in-person coach along with one of our new coaches, Khushi. Alright folks, are we caught up? Are we on this page yet? Alright folks, so I'm gonna continue since none of you all are replying to me about the postman. Keep the chat going, don't worry about it. I'll just ramble on. But yeah, so next what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the GitHub API, right? So I don't know if you all have ever used the GitHub API, but it's kind of cool, right? So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna start typing API dot github.com. Alright, and next what I want to do is I want users, right? So users, because remember I said we'll be personalizing our own profiles, or rather pulling our own profiles. There you go, GitHub users. And over here I'm going to use my GitHub URL for the time being. You all of course are free to use any other person's, especially yours, username. So this is my GitHub username. Alright, and I'm going to now send a get request. Alright, so send. And there we go. This is what it has returned to me. There's nothing in visualize because of course I have not specified a template. Alright, so you can see this is what I have gotten back. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this entire structure, or rather the names over here, variable names here, to create a template and visualize my own profile. Is anyone following along? If you are, I'm happy to wait at this point until you all send the request. Else we can continue. We will create a template, Zenny. Don't worry. We'll create exactly that right now. All you need to do is just make the request for the time being and go on to the pretty tab. Right? So raw, preview, pretty. We'll stay on pretty. Why? Okay, you're making a new account in Postman. That works. So create a personal account. That's fine. I hope you're following along, Milab Gupta. And if you are, just let me know when you want me to stop and wait. That's nice, Shamari. I'm sure you'll be able to follow this along in like absolutely no effort later. Absolutely, Zenny. Like I can totally explain from the beginning. So I'm just gonna go here, go to Google, I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna go here, type Postman. You can just type Postman, that's fine. Go to Postman. Right, I'm already logged in. You all might have to log in. Once you log in, you'll see workspaces here. Alright, I've created my own workspace, but I'll create a new one just in case. I'll keep it personal. I'll call it GHW demo. W. I don't want to give it a summary, and there we go. Alright, once the workspace is created, I'm just going to click on new tab. I'll close the overview. In the request here, I'm going to make sure that get is selected. And in the URL, I'm going to put the URL that I just used, which is the public GitHub URL API. So api.github.com. Now I want the users, so I'm going to specify the path to users, and then I'm going to specify my own username to get my data. Right? So this is my username. Over here, I'm going to click on send, which is basically making the API request, and this is the response that the URL has given me. All right, that's it. That's all you need to do, Zenny. Oh, that's all right. I'm sure you'll be able to follow along later. You don't need to download anything, Gaming Skull. This is all browser based. For that matter, if you're, I'm pretty sure you all can follow along on your phones as well. Right? Let me send you all the link to this. So just postman.co/workspace, or rather I'm going to click on home and see if I can. Yeah, so if you go to postman.com and just click on a new workspace, Zenil, did you catch up? Are you on the same page now? Hi VJ, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much, Yash. Awesome. Hello. Alright, folks, are we on the same page? Zeneen and anyone else who's following along, let me know and we'll continue. It's very simple. You all don't need to worry about it at all. And you all will catch up in no time. What can't you find, Zeneen? The Postman workspace? Absolutely, I can, Yash. Let me. Uh, right, there you go. Over here, you all need to add your GitHub name. Zeneen, is this what you're not able to find? Hi, Vijay. It's been a long time since I've seen you in the Eminate server. I don't understand this question, Yemen Sky. Can you tell me what your question is? And Zenny, did you catch up? If you're not, I'm happy to show it to you again. You don't have to create a project, Zenny. You see this space. So if I go to home, right, this is where you land once you log in. So you will have my workspace created by default. You can use that as well. Or you can go to workspaces, create a new workspace. So any workspace works really. So I'm going to go back. I just created this API workspace for the sake of it. You do not have to create a new workspace. All right. And yeah, once you get here, all you need to do is click on the new tab, right? Just click on the new tab and you'll be making a new request. Oh, my bad. Thank you so much, Gaming Skull. Nice. You can always rename your workspace, I'm sure. What are Dimmer's redeems? I'm curious. I need to watch a stream now. I'm very curious. I'm sorry. I'm sure that must hurt your ears right now. Zenil, have we caught up? Would you like me to continue? That's alright. So if you see overview, right? That means you'll see a quick tab here, right? So if you go into a new workspace, let's say we go here. Let's say close everything, right? Alright, I'm gonna not save it. Cancel. Right, so if you go here, you'll I can't figure out how to recreate the overview thing. Let me just create a new workspace here. So if I create a new workspace and I go, hey, personal, create. Right, so if you see the overview, you need to click here on the new tab. And that's it. You can close the overview after this. And I'm not going to close it anymore in case I'm going to come back here. Don't you see the tab here, Zenir? I am not aware of this feature. Please tell us more about this. I am unfortunately not. Yash, I'm stuffing at the leaf. Awesome! Great. So when you go into the new tab, right, you'll see a get request here, so, or an untitled request rather, right? So you can also edit the name here. But let's just go here. So make sure that you have the get selected, and over here I'm going to type api.github.com. Next, I want the users in the public API. So users path, and I'm going to type my own username for the time being, and you all can use your own username. Once you've done that, just click send, and you'll see a ton of data received from your own profile, of course. Same page, Anil. No rush, take your time. Everyone on the same page. In case you all are following it from your phone browsers, let me know if you all are facing trouble. I will try and recreate it. Everyone on the same page? Awesome! Yash is on the same page. We're just waiting for Zenil to get there. Let's look at that until then. 418 response code. Oh man, this is so cool. I'm gonna share my screen to that. Did you try to make sure that your letters are the casing is matching your username? And are you sure that's your that's a GitHub username? Exactly. That's the only thing. I mean, so your API is working. Remember, it made the request. It reached the GitHub endpoint, and there it could not resolve the username. So, you know what? I'm going to check if it's case sensitive right here. I'm going to change mine to and see if it finds it. It did find it, right? I'm just going to clear this out in case. I'm going to create a new tab. Oh, send. So it's not case sensitive. So basically, I think you've gotten the spelling wrong. Thank you. I cannot click on links yet, so I'll click on them after the stream. That is so cool. Nice. Perfect. I click on it. Wait, you put it in Discord in which channel? Ask JSW. No. Hmm. Give me just 1 second. I have to find the right channel that put it in. API week. Alright, let me look into it. Awesome, Zenil. Great job. keep your conversation going. I'll share my screen to what happened when I googled 418, and I'm very confused and very fascinated at the same time. Awesome. So let's continue the Zenny, right? So we know know that this is not case sensitive. Awesome. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into tests. All right. We're going to start writing our code. Uh, and let me just quickly API me. Wait, Yash, I'm opening your link. So, photo. Oh, that is so cute. That is very cute, Yash. Let me show it on the screen in just a minute. All right. Awesome, folks. So, and we're going to quickly create the template. Then we look at the 418 response code. We look at this cute pizza. And this is Peter, right, Yash? Awesome. It is Peter. We'll look at Peter in just a minute. I think this will make a great mascot for a Python. Awesome. I was just thinking that. Perfect. So, great. Template. Let's go back to our API workspace and click on tests. Over here, we're going to start writing our, well, not code really, but yeah, a script. Let's call it a script. Yeah. So we're going to start with let, right? First, we want the response, right? So we're going to give a, variable data, data variable, right? So GHW API data. Let's call it that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to store the entire JSON that we have just, called to our uh, variable, right? No questions. Great. So let's store the data. So I'm going to do pm dot response, right? And over here, what I want is the JSON. So dot JSON. All right. Over here now, what I've done is I've saved the entire JSON response into the GHW API data variable. All right. Next, I'm going to create the template. All right. So let's create the template. Let template. Now remember, even this is a variable name. Okay. You can call this anything. Right. So equal to now backticks. Make sure that you use backticks. And now we write a simple HTML code. Okay. So HTML. Wait, then we're gonna start. 40. Right. Next, let's call an H1 tag. H1. This is where I'll add my name. Alright. Then I'm gonna close the H1 tag. Alright, next let's pull our profile pictures, right? So IMG tag src equal to, let's leave this blank for the time being, and let's give it the alt name, which let's call it avatar, right? So let's close this. Let's close the IMG tag. Awesome. So now what all we want is the avatar, we want the name, right? So now we'll figure out how to get the name and the avatar right. Create a Blahaj GitHub profile and make sure that the name is Blahaj, and I'll pull it into the template. Why aren't you getting it? So we declared a variable and we stored the JSON data in it. Alright, then what we're doing is we're creating another template variable, right? And we're declaring a template inside it. Inside it, I've used backticks to enclose it, the template, alright? And in that, I've just written simple HTML code, right? And now I'm gonna add in the template the variables, or rather the keys of the JSON. Oh, I'm so sorry, folks. Let me increase the. Alright, does this help everyone? Does this help everyone? Awesome. Alright, folks, I'm waiting for everyone to catch up. It's simple code, remember. Now, what we'll do is we want our name here, right? So, now over here, we'll call the key. So, over here, when we look at our key for name, what is it? Name. So, name is the name itself. So, I'm going to go here, right? Then I want my image source here. What is the key for image source? It's avatar URL, right? So I'm going to quickly copy this. Go here. And that's it. Now remember the template is ready, but we're not passing the template anywhere, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do pm dot visualize visualizer dot set open the thing and pass the template first, right? So you can see it's showing you the uh, template here, right? So first we need the template, the function template, and in that we need to first pass our string template, which is the HTML code, and then we need to pass the data, right? And any options. We're not passing any options for the time being, all right? So our template is called template. So let's pass that, and our data is called, what is it called? GHW API data. So GHW API data. There we go. It printed out for us. Awesome. Over here, yes, it is. It is. Awesome. Let's hit send again. And let's go to visualize. There we go. It's visualized. Now the picture is very big. You all can use HTML to kind of make it concise. But this is simple, right? And this is so cool. You can literally bring out any data, quickly analyze it, quickly visualize it. Yes, we do. This is a backtick here, right? Because it's enclosing the entire. Remember the mistake I made in the first stream where I was putting colon instead of backtick? So this is basically a usable variable inside it. It's okay. Let me know what all you want me to repeat and we'll go over it. Okay. What error are you getting, Yash? Yes, we do. How can I? Is this how you do? How do you do commenting in JavaScript? Anyone can help me? How do you comment in JavaScript? Yes, thank you very much, DJ. I'm gonna look up. Comment, but then it's not a normal. There we go. Does this make sense, everyone? So the console is right here, right below where you see the body. You'll see visualize pop up right here. If you go and visualize, you should be able to see your template being visualized. Can you paste it? Or you know what? Let me do a. Let me just paste the entire thing for you all in the chat, in case you all want to compare. That is so cool, VJ. So if you all don't know, VJ actually invited me into Triple ITP for a blues wireless session. And well, I'm not working with blues wireless anymore, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really wish I could gaming skull, but with the internet that I usually have and the fact that we're live streaming, I'm happy this is not stalling. But let me see if I can increase the size for you more. Does this help a little? Oh man, I wish Postman would get rid of so much around the. Awesome! So now, here's a task for all of you all. I'm going to give you all exactly 10 minutes. Okay? Give it your spin, right? It's simple HTML code. You all can also do a lot with CSS, but I want you all to, it's your profile. You have all the data coming in from your GitHub. Use colors, use whatever you want. Take the next 10 minutes and give it your own spin. And I want to see your pictures of your profiles visualized in Discord. Alright? I know 4 or 5 people are following along. Whoever's following along, I really want to see. You'll see the output in right below here in visualize. Right? So you see there are 4 things. Here is where we were getting our JSON back. In the visualize, you'll see the visualization. Awesome. Great. So you all have the next 10 minutes to do your own thing. I'll try and do it myself. Alright. Great. Serene, how are we doing? Are you on the same page? Alright. Until you all do that, I'm gonna stop my screen share, present it again, and share the 418 response code first. So this is the 418 response code, which is so cool, right? So the response code indicates that the server refuses to brew coffee because it's permanently a teapot. And then there's the 503 error, which is a combined coffee tea pot that is temporarily out of coffee. How awesome is that? So when we do the rapid API deployment on Monday, maybe we can use this and send an IMO teapot response. All right, on to the next thing I promised I would share. Let me show you all the link that Yash sent it to me. This is Python Pro's new mascot. Isn't it the cutest? And I'm not sharing my screen. I am sorry to see that. Did you paste the entire code that I sent? I feel it's more of a postman error than it is the API. Take your time, Yash. Yes, we're looking at Peter. And before that, before I showed Peter, it's a very cute mascot. We were looking at the response code of I'm a teapot, but I never, pulled my screen into StreamYard. Gaming Skull, are you able to resolve this? Can you send me a screenshot maybe of the error on Discord? Zenny, does this help? I'm sorry I missed your question. Oh, perfect. So I need to see if this advice helps. Awesome, folks. Take the next 10 minutes. Style it however you want. There we go. I'm gonna reduce the size for a bit so that I can see it myself. And yeah, I'm gonna grab some HTML code myself and give it some, colors and maybe, call in some more things from the data that I've received. Let's see. Fancy! Wow, Yash created a really cool thing. That is so cool. I want to know how do you put your profile picture in the circle. Hmm. Zeni, what profile picture do you have on your GitHub profile? Can you try pulling any other person's profile and see if their image is coming? Did you? I can't click on links here, Gaming Skull. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to either send the link in Discord or send me the screenshot of what you created. Alright, I did find some CSS to make my profile picture a circle. Awesome, Zenia's code is working as well. Don't send it in Twitch. Send it to me in Discord in the API Week channel. Let me tag you there. I am hoping your username is same in the Discord. So gaming stars is 16. Perfect. There we go. Here. There you go. Awesome. I'm waiting to see your visualizations right there. And then there's the 8 minutes, folks, and then we move on to IoT. Go ahead, go crazy. Put on colors, whatever you want to do. I know you posted yours. It's amazing. Yes, use inline gaming skull. Yes, it will be Kubrick. Welcome back to the stream. I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been? Well, that's an interesting name for me. We're basically visualizing the APIs, right? So we're using the visualize tool. So next time, let's say in a hackathon, you want to, try out how the API can be used. You can come here, visualize the entire thing, and then basically have the code ready for your front end and whatever you want to make. Because huge chunks of data in your website, you don't know what's going wrong. So this is easier. Sure, go ahead. I'm great, Guberek. Thank you so much for asking. I have just had this weird problem where my voice randomly gets nasal. So I don't know how y'all are bearing with me because I can't hear myself. But thank you for sticking around. Okay, I'm expecting to see some. Oh, sure, someone's asking for the API link. This is the API link. Slash. I'm so glad to know that y'all can hear me well. It's just so it's getting very nasal, y'all know. Like I can feel this is not my voice, but if y'all can hear, and I guess the bad internet here is on my side for once because not the actual thing is going through, so that's nice. Oh yeah. You can write a lot of logic. So the other day not the other day, rather yesterday I showed you all right. Let's switch workspaces, Shrisha API. So these are some of the templates that they have, So this is an amazing template, right? Where what they've done is they've written an entire code here that creates a heat map. So you can see how they're using CSS, how they're using HTML. And so this is originally from someone's D3GS code pen, but it works really well. So if I go to here, I take the variables, I copy the demo URL. I mean, you can just run it really. Let's say if I just run it, I go to visualize. You can see it's actually visualizing the entire thing for me. So basically, you can just use this as a code pen, but with the data coming in real time, and you can just look at the data. It's basically specifically to your simplify your APIs. Hi Rishabh, how are you doing? Basically, yes. And then just pick up the code and put it into your actual websites so you know how it's going to look and you know what's going wrong because you know that your HTML and everything is correct. Yes, I am pretty sure it only supports this. I think you can use Python at some point. There is a plugin, I think. Uh, I think, I'm not sure. Nope, nope, it's only JavaScript. Folks, how are we doing? I don't see any other visualizations. I'm waiting for Gaming Skull, I'm waiting for Zenine, I'm waiting for Shiva. I know you all are following along. Another 3 minutes, and then we move on to IoT. So, how many of y'all have attended the IoT streams before and or have tried IoT before? And I know Yash is probably going to leave the stream now, but Probably yes. But it's a very cool tool, I really like it because, especially when you're starting out, building front end or back end for the first time, it can be fairly intimidating calling the data into your website, seeing whether or not it's coming. For example, the first day we did getting data into your React app. And I mean, there's just so much happening, right? This create React app, there's an entire code base that you're editing, so you don't know what is happening where. This gives you a lot more clarity as to how much is happening on your API side. That is awesome, Zenny. Yeah, it's going to be a very nice discussion where we just discuss, and then I'll show you a really cool example on Workweek. I know you're not a big fan. I read this wrong. I thought you said you are a big fan of IoT, but yeah, it's okay. Workweek, remember the platform we used last time for Fireways? You all don't like IoT. I'm very, very sad about it. But now that you've told me this, at least I'll make more streams less IoT. I'm so sorry to hear you all don't like IoT though. I can't believe you all have been pairing with me for the past how many GSWs. Let me send you all the link to WorkMe. A very cool platform. Are we ready, folks? To move on, I don't see anyone else's visualization. I'm hoping to see more. I think you can do a lot in IoT backend. You need so many optimizations for IoT to be able to consume and send data. Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm hoping to see some nice. It's already. So let me quickly pull up my slides until then, and you all can take your time to post your visualizations. Right. All right. We're here and we're ready to get started. I just don't know, Rishabh. I don't have a specific answer. I'm just very fascinated by IoT. And I did Robocon in my first year, so I just loved the idea of working with controllers and all day. What is similar to Node.js, Senil? So I'm in Pune right now, and the weather is this really nice cloudy weather. The summer and monsoonish weather where it's been really hot the entire day, and suddenly it becomes cloudy and it becomes really nice. It's that kind of weather here. And yeah, we have some really I have some really lazy vibes going around me. Where are you all joining us from? Tell me your cities where you all are joining us from. And how bad is it? Is it already like peak summer? Because has been pretty bad in terms of weather. I'm just waiting for people to complete the visualizations early. Awesome! I love your visualization, Jessel. I'm sorry, now I'm going to call you that. Now that I know. So Jessel, why did you use the link? Instead of the link, use this, and this might help. Wait, let me send it to you. So instead of using the URL, what you're doing is, oh, is that on purpose? Because what's happening is you're using the API key. Instead, then just use the normal key, the normal URL. Right? If you want there to be a URL, uh, make it normal. Don't give the API URL. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Right. So let's if you just want to list your repos as well, right? Let me see. Alright, I'm sure you made that decision after a lot of thought, but it's looking great. It's looking amazing. I'm sure you can play around with the variables later. I'm sure it is super fancy regardless, then you go ahead and post it. That's okay. I know what you meant, but I'm sure it looks great. Awesome. Now you can keep it how you wanted, Gaming Skull. I'm just trying to understand that you wanted that on purpose, right? So if you wanted it on purpose, great. If not, either way works. Ah, yeah, so go for it. Go for the earlier one. That looks great as well. But I'm glad I hope you all had fun with it. This was supposed to be like an easy task where you can personalize it a lot. That is awesome. Huh. Anyone else still posting? Do you all want me to wait? Else we'll continue. This is a very super chill. We're just gonna go through the slides. We're gonna talk about some issues and things like that. That's the whole point of having fun with something. You all want to do it completely. I have only one, so I'm on the monitor and I keep switching my camera between the two, and then the laptop's right here. That is a great question, Jessel. I hope you're okay with me calling you that on stream. I'm waiting to see your visualizations, Daniel. Alright, folks, let's start with the IoT session then. Yeah, no getting away with this, Daniel. I can bet you've done an amazing job. Just send it in. I'm also waiting for Shivam. Shivam hasn't posted it, and I know Shivam was following along, so no getting away. Alright, we're gonna start with my favorite question that I know some of you all have heard me ask that a million times. But once more, it is. So let's move on. You all know me. If you all don't know me, let me know. I'm happy to introduce myself, but I'm pretty sure everyone here knows me. We already did what is an API. What's the next thing that we're going to be doing today? What is IoT? That's okay, Shivam. I'm sure you wrote the basic HTML code that we just did. You can definitely send in what you created. Yep, so let's do the intuition exercise and tell me what is IoT. If you know the answer, go ahead and put it. If not, tell me the first thing that comes to your head. Yes, Jess, Game of Internet of Things it is. And it's okay, Shivam. I'm going to let you off the hook for once because you did attend the stream pretty well and you did ask questions. So I hope you can post it at some point. Internet of Things, that is great. Yes, because Gash has watched all my IoT streams and yet has not followed any of them. Great answers, Anil. Still waiting for your visualization, but great answer. Sensors it is. Anything else? What else comes to your head when you think of the word IoT? That is a really nice answer, Jessa. Thank you. Alexa, that's a nice thing to come in mind. The thing is, I have one behind me, and yeah, there have been streams where it just started singing after I called it sing. So I know, and I really appreciate it. Don't worry. All right. So IoT literally means human independent communication. You do know the answer. That is true. So IoT is basically human independent communication, right? When you have sensors and actuators working amongst themselves without you, interjecting or interfering, right? So you could have like a automatic plant monitoring system or a plant watering system, where the sensors decide whether the plant needs to be watered. They don't just make the decision; they water it, then get the new value, and based on that loop, either continue monitoring or continue watering, right? Basically. Right? So that's what IoT is, very simply put, right? And we won't get into a lot of depth, but basically IoT is everywhere, right? At least today, and it's supposed to get bigger. The market is supposed to double up in the coming years, right? And COVID especially was a really, crucial thing that for the IoT space because everyone wanted medical devices, everyone wanted smart medical devices, everyone had to communicate so much, everyone wanted to monitor so much, remotely. So it grew a lot, right? People depended on IoT a lot. It's set to grow even further as we move along because we're automating tiny things. With the AI in the picture, it gives IoT a lot of power as well. Tell me if you'd be interested in an AI in IoT stream at some point. I know you all are not a big fan of IoT, but yeah. Exactly. So IoT is everywhere, right? And obviously, IoT is communicating over the internet. One way or another, it's connecting to some form of cloud, right? Is there an AI IoT hackathon? I am not aware. Please do send me the link. Come on, Justin. I'm sure you'll do great when you try it. I need to look into this. There's a lot I'm learning today, more than I'm telling about. That's awesome. So IoT is basically everywhere, right? And it's obviously communicating over the internet. How can we make IoT more efficient, more productive, and more compliant to the nature or the environment around it? Obviously by using APIs. APIs are super important to IoTs, IoT devices and IoT, entire architectures functioning. So, what are some very crucial things that you would look out for when you are building an API around IoT, with IoT, for IoT? Yes, exactly, to make stuff go faster and securely, right? But Yes, exactly. You need APIs because remember your ESP8266, ESP32, everything is communicating over some form of network, right? And the more you make the information easily accessible and easily, sendable, if that's a word, it makes the entire architecture more efficient. And Shivam, right, you were telling about how backend, you only do backend. IoT backend is fairly difficult to figure, right? Because remember, we have multiple constraints when it comes to IoT, right? There is power constraints, there is resource constraints, right? The amount of data you can have at a given time, you can send, you can process, everything is limited, right? That is actually a great answer, Sangeet. Yes, AI would also do that, but the main thing that will make any IoT system a preferable system is its efficiency, right? And of course, AI can help. You can have like an AI monitoring system for the IoT system itself. But what we're talking about is how it communicates right now. That is an amazing question, Jessel, because that's what I'm going to talk about next. Fair point, Yash. I'll give you that. Exactly. This is what I was going to tell you on next. There are special protocols that exist for IoT only so that it can make efficient API requests. Does that make sense? Fair enough. You can take my word for the time being. Right? So APIs play a super important role. So remember we were sending JSON and getting JSON and all the rest of the APIs. Well, IoT can do more, right? Even it can understand XML. Basically, you need the parser, right? Exactly. So, for example, you send your right now we've been using REST APIs over HTTPS, right, or HTTP, right? In IoT, we usually use something called MQTT, which eventually makes an HTTP request, but it's actually using a special command protocol to make sure that it's very efficiently conveying the information. It is not sending anything that it doesn't need to send. Make sense? Yes, doesn't make sense. Awesome. So let's look at a little bit more into the kinds of APIs that exist, right? So there's something called open APIs. What's AMQP? I've never heard of AMQP. AMQP is a really good example, yes, and you're right. So AMQP, from what I'm understanding, is basically a modified version of MQTT. Is that what you meant, Shivam? MQTT? But basically, yes, you get the point. We have a queue system which is not very advanced in MQTT. So AMQP is actually, I just read about it, is a modified version of MQTT, and there are multiple. It's TP. Yes, it's not TP. It's MQTT. All right. Anyway, so let's move on. Yeah, keep the questions coming. If you all have any other questions, keep them coming. Right. So now let's look into the APIs that exist. And why do we want to look into them? Because remember, when you're designing an architecture, right, or a project, you want to specify why you used that specific API or why did you use that specific tech stack, right? So there are four kinds of APIs, right? And they're very intuitive. You can tell from the name that they're very, they're very obvious. There's something called open APIs. Basically, you can make requests to them and they'll send you the data, right? Then there's something called partner APIs, which have limited access. Only if you have if you're a partner or your organization is a partner, you'll get the access keys, right? Then there's something called internal APIs. Remember, I told you APIs have existed before the World Wide Web existed. So your organization, their internal systems communicating with each other, that would be an internal API, which only the organization has access to. Then there's something called composite API, right? Which is a combination of these two. Why does a composite API exist? To make your system efficient. The more I talk, the more it becomes difficult for me to talk. But yeah, does that make sense, everyone? So when you're using an IoT system, you ideally want to use a composite API. Why? Can anyone tell me why do you want to use a composite API and not a internal API or even a partner API? So why, if you let's say you want to make a project in IoT and you have the four options, why would you use a composite API and not a very private API that makes everything super secure? Efficiency, yes, but what part are we trying to make efficient here? You're close, Shivam, and great answer, Jessel, but what part are we making efficient? So I'll tell you, right? Remember, I told you there's not just one constraint, right? We have tons of constraints. First, the major concern any IoT device kind of prioritizes the first security, right? So you want to make sure that the data you're sending is private. Cool. So let's just use a private API, right? Secure everything, encrypt everything. The next problem is the data, the number of amount of data you can send at one go, right? Okay, we might even be able to figure that out with, let's say, we use an internal API, right? So that way, you don't have to encrypt it a lot, but there's some form of network encryption that you do. The next constraint is the power constraint, right? Remember, your IoT devices are more often than not battery powered devices, right? So you want to make sure that the one request you send is not just short, you can receive the acknowledgement immediately, and the amount of data you're sending is, like basically verifiable. It's accurate. So you want an acknowledgement very quickly too. And you're kind of on the right track, Jessel, because that's exactly what we do, right? What we do instead is we make the network encrypted. How? By opening a port on the network. So, MQTT basically what it does is a kind of like a network on the network, right? It's basically a protocol. So we're basically encrypting the entire communication format. But remember, most of your devices, if they're following the same protocol, it loses security, right? So what you then do is you use a composite API. So you want a mix. So what you do, you first encrypt the layer of network, then you use a slightly unsecure API, but you make sure that the data that you're sending is more secure. But that makes sense. I know it's not very straightforward, and the more you start designing systems, the more it becomes clear. But is it making sense? I'm glad it's making sense, Jason. Right? So you understand what we're doing in an IoT system. We're trying to combine different concepts and providing some layer of security in every layer and layering it up. Right? Makes sense? Next thing we need to understand is something called high level APIs and low level APIs, right? So low level APIs are APIs that have a lot of control, right? You can change a lot of things, you can understand a lot of things on a low level API. Obviously, a low level API would send a lot of data, right? High level API is something that will give you, that will let you change some things. For example, turning a light bulb on and off. All you want to send is an on or a off, and it'll work. Excuse me. Right? So it'll work. So what are the constraints here? In a lower level API, when you can change a lot of things, you want it to be extremely secure. In a high level API, it's not making much of a difference. So you can't send a lot of data, but it's super unsecure. And you don't really care about it either. Right? So the protocols that you choose are a combination of these three things, right? First, the network that you're using. Second, the type of API. And third, how much that API is capable of changing the next, device configuration. Kind of makes sense, everyone? Awesome. Let's move on, right? So this is just for you all to give, understand the APIs is a huge world, right? That's the whole point of the API week, that you can do tons by just taking a small topic. APIs in IoT, however, are a bigger world, right? Like there are people who spend a major part of their jobs just researching how to make these layers more efficient and more capable of handling their own security, right? So this is something that I found, right? 80% of the organizations in the world have used IoT devices in some form, right? And 20% of them have already encountered cyber attacks, right? Which is why IoT, while it makes your life very easy, it also is a huge reason for security attacks, cyber security attacks, right? These are some popular IoT APIs. If you look up any IoT project on the internet, almost always, if there's some form of request being sent, it will be MQTT, because MQTT makes the entire power and data super efficient, right? And in the recent years, it has also become super secure by adding more layers of data checks to it. Precisely, Jason. Smart locks need to be super secure, right? Not just smart locks, right? Let's say you have a plant watering system. If you leave it exposed, any cybersecurity learning, anyone who's learning cybersecurity or is, playing around, it's a big achievement for them to, break into your system. So, regardless of what the IoT task is, of course, you don't care about the data. If they see the data, you don't care, but you don't want them to be able to um, turn the system on and off, right? So you don't want them to be able to turn the system on and off. So then when you're choosing your protocol, you don't care if the data is visible to everyone. The soil moisture, the light sensor, you can send the data over an unencrypted channel. But the on and off needs to go through a secure channel. Make sense? Awesome. I hope it did. Okay, so these are some popular IoT APIs. The Garmin API is especially pretty popular these days in the IoT section. Have you heard of Garmin? Have you heard of the Garmin company? So Garmin is actually a very famous company dealing in sports goods, and not sports goods specifically, but electronics for sports goods. and they make some really cool wearables, right? So fitness trackers. I especially know Garmin because of scuba diving. So they make these dive watches or dive computers. Oh, it's getting very difficult for me to talk. Right, so they make dive computers. I would love to talk about dive computers, but it's getting very difficult for me to speak. So I'm going to try and wrap this up early. Alright? So I'll take you through these APIs in just a bit. Like we try and use them also on Monday when we do the visualization on processing. Security in IoT APIs. So I know y'all aren't interested in IoT, but if y'all ever sit down to design your own API for IoT, which is a pretty big deal, you will be appreciated a lot if you did. Yes, I have done scuba diving actually very recently, and trust me, if I start talking about it, I won't stop. I think I'm gonna just wrap it up in the next 5-10 minutes, and then we'll take a slightly longer session on Monday. Hopefully, I'll be fine by then. But yeah, so when you're designing an IoT API, you want to make sure that the API has API authentication, right? So no, Pondicherry actually. So API authentication is something called, so not just API keys, but the API endpoint too, right? You're authenticating both. All right. Next, you want to make sure that the device gets authorized. So in that authentication packet, you're sending a lot of data, right? Then there's something called traffic throttling triggers, right? Now, when you're making a project, you don't really care because you have two devices, five at max. When you're thinking it from an industrial point of view, you usually have fleets, right? So when you're monitoring fleets, you want to be able to monitor the entire traffic because if there's a rogue device there, you won't know, right? And yeah, the web API should be regularly monitored. That's true for any API. All right. Last thing, after this I wrap up. I really can't speak. All right. So, what's the difference between HTTP and COAP? We just spoke about MQTT. Can anyone tell me the difference? And I'll dive into it more in just like the next session. Anyone? Do you all know what COAP is? Have you heard of the CoAP protocol? Yes, I promise I'll talk more about it whenever we have the next mini event, maybe in the next GHW even. Not really. I mean, it does run on those layers, yes. But oh my god, I'm feeling better. So CoAP is basically a protocol similar to MQTT. What it does is it has a slightly different mechanism of authenticating an API than an HTTP request. So if you want to make the HTTP request secure, you use HTTPS, right? Which is basically the secure socket. You add an extra certificate layer to verify the connection. Now, you can't do that in IoT because you can do it, but again, you're consuming a lot more resources, right? You are consuming way more data, like a ton of more data, and you're definitely consuming a lot of power to keep the portal, the connection open to verify, and then make the actual, uh, request. So exactly, Jessel. It has much smaller packets. co-op has much smaller packets, and what it does is it has a different way of authenticating, basically efficiently authenticating and making the entire protocol easily runnable on a low powered device. Okay, I know this is very basic and very over the, like very vague, but I am gonna try and recover by Monday and be able to explain it better to you all. Alright, before we end, let me stop sharing my screen. I'm gonna quickly share the example that I was gonna show to you about making a simple IoT API request. So, we spoke about a lot of things, but the basic request in IoT, how to make it, remains very simple, right? So, this is the link to the WorkMe example, and if you want to open it, you'll see it's very cool. Share screen, Chrome tab, and there you go. Right, so this is a very simple example, and I'm just gonna run it. So you can see we have connected basically the LCD. We're making a simple URL HTTP request, and then we're just printing this string that we're getting back onto the LCD. Alright, I will explain the code better on Monday if I'm better. No screen. Thank you so much, Jason. So you can see this is a simple LCD connected to the ESP32, and we're making a simple HTTP request right here, and we're then taking the string and printing it onto our screen. Fairly simple. Most of the code is about the setting the printing on the screen rather, and we can click on the button and we'll get a new job. I like how the current joke is very developer joke. But alright, that's it for today, folks. I'm honestly having a lot of trouble speaking. So I'm gonna yeah, well, we've been using Walkme a lot in IoT streams, JSL. So yeah, you should definitely check out this website. It's super cool, and this guy actually live coded his entire Pico simulator. Let me see if I can find the link for you all. Yep. Component address, and there you go. This is very cool. Exactly, Shiva. You don't need any IoT device to figure this out and actually figure out the backend for IoT or try out the backend for IoT. Alright, folks, I'm so sorry for ending this early. I really want to save my voice for the hackathon this weekend as well. So I'm going to be on a total no talking to people until Saturday. But thank you so much for joining. I hope you all had fun today. I am hoping to see all your visualizations today. Zenil, I know you haven't sent it. And Shivam, if you can try it as well, I know you'll do a great job. Alright, folks, I will see you all on Monday. And if you all are at Hack the Leaf, do come and say hi.